Hello once again. Hey, it's Dan here in Virginia. Today I thought I'd take a few minutes to talk about radios. You'll see on the bench in front of me two radios. These are FlySky radios. I like FlySky radios for a couple reasons. Number one, they're reasonably priced, and the transmitters that go with them are very reasonably priced. So a lot of the guys at the field where I fly, they all use these Spectrum radios. And I guess they're fine radios, but to me, they're not a good bargain. They're grossly overpriced, especially when it comes to the receivers. You see this little receiver here for a FlySky. There's a second. FlySky, this thing only costs 12 bucks. This is a 6-channel receiver. Also, even for an upgraded radio, like this one is, this is a 9-channel radio. The receivers for that are only 10 or 12 bucks also. If you have a Spectrum radio, I hear guys paying $40 or $45 for a receiver. So anyway, this was my first FlySky radio. It's called a FlySky T6. I've had this for about 3 years, and it's been a great radio. It had a lot of features I had to grow into, and it's been very good, but in the last few months or so, it has a tendency to lose signal. I can fly my airplane away and it'll just keep going, and I have to jerk around, and I've wrecked the airplane several times. So I'm not sure what was wrong with it, so I went on YouTube and I figured out how to put on one of these higher gain antennas. There's several good YouTube videos there that show you how to do that, but supposedly you just put on one of these Wi-Fi radio antennas, but you have to go inside the radio and install this connector, and that is the trick. I'm pretty good at soldering connectors on batteries and wires together and so on and so forth, but you get down in there, I'm telling you, these wires are fine as frog's hair, and you have to try to solder a couple of them, which I did, but I don't think I got them right. So anyway, I decided it's time to upgrade radios. On this one here, this radio was only about $55, but it's pretty slick. It holds 20 models, 20 model memory. And you say, well, when I first got it, I said, well, I'll never have 20 models anyway. Well, sure enough, here all of a sudden, a couple years later, I got 10 models in this thing. Another thing I don't like about this is that it does not have a timer. You can't set the timer on this thing and time your flights in air. So this portion up here, I have a little dab of Velcro, and you can stick on a little I have an egg timer or a digital watch you can put on there to use for a timer. So that's the couple drawbacks. So that's the only drawback to this radio. Otherwise, it's been a fine radio. I'm not quite giving up on it. I'm gonna maybe re-solder that connection inside, but anyway, let's talk about this new radio. This new radio is a FlySky TH9X. So this is a 9-channel radio. And as you can see, it's got a lot more switches and knobs and so forth. This thing will do about anything. If you're a helicopter pilot, it'll do VTAL mixing. It has a timer, unlike this one, it has a timer. Probably can't see the screen. The screen's not real bright down here, but you can set the timer. It's a little hard to program, but all these radios are difficult when you first get them, and you're not sure exactly what you're doing. But this thing has, like the more sophisticated radios, for dual rates, it has 3 different switches. It has one here for the elevator, and one here for the ailerons. It has a 3-position switch, which you can get it set up. You can use it for flaps, half flaps, full flaps, and it's got 3 variable resistance knobs. I use this one here for my gyros. You can dial the gyro up, down, where I use it about in the middle. I use that for the gyro setting. This one here I use for the flaps on the planes that I have flaps, like the Commander. This switch here, I always use this switch as a motor cutoff. Down or forward is run, up is off. Throttle cutoff is where you always use that one, same one. so I'm always the same. So I'm enjoying this radio, but the thing about this, they all have their drawbacks. This radio, you can only put 8 models in it. 8 models. Like I said, on this one, I already have 10. So now I got to make a choice. If I'm going to reload them all in here, I have to leave 2 out, which is not a big deal. But 8 radios is not much. Or 8 models is not very much to put in a radio. A lot of radios, including, I believe, the Spectrums, they have removable SIM cards, and so you can, you know, load them up, whatever they'll hold, and then put your model and take them out, put in another card. But this one will only hold 8. Other than that, it seems to be a fine radio, and there was a sale on these radios. This radio is the same as a Turnigy 9-channel, so I assume that Turnigy makes them for FlySky. And they have the 9-channel Turnigys on sale at Hobby King, but I missed. They had them on sale for 40 bucks. Well, I almost bought another one, but I dithered around. I waited overnight, so I don't need another one. I went the next morning. Of course, they're sold out. Boom, gone. I missed the deal. Anyway, this is a new radio. I'm enjoying it. Learn how to fly. Learn how to program all these knobs. You can spend hours and hours figuring out how to load it up, then use the knobs and switches for whatever you want. You can assign them all. The thing you get with this, it's a 9-channel radio. The receivers are only 8 channels. Well, that's just the way they are. 8-channel receiver, but that gives you plenty of channels for gears, for flaps. And I use another one for a lost aircraft buzzer, so I have plenty of channels, even with 8 channels. But that's about it. I'm enjoying it, and if you want a decent radio, these radios, the price I paid was like $89 from hobbyparts.com. So, another thing on this, the receivers are still, that come with this, are about twice as big as this one. I can't show you one because it's inside. I only have one, and it's inside my Commander airplane, but they're about twice this size. So the 8-channel receivers, they can be a bit of a problem if you're cramped for space in your battery compartment. But even those receivers are only $10 or $12, and these are only $10 or $12, same price. And this radio will bind with these older 6 channels. So that was my consideration. All my other planes and so forth already have these 6-channel receivers in them. This new one, it will bind with all of them. You don't have to go back and buy all new receivers. So I guess that's about it. So I hope you find this helpful. And safe flying, and I'll see you next time out here.